LNG has had on my business is quite substantial. This is my first time at a big, huge project like this, and it's amazing to see things change on a daily basis. So the opportunities with wood fiber is there's 40 more years of opportunities. I have 6 employees right now and then 10 in the future, and looking to grow even more beyond that.
Thank you so much to Wood Fiber LNG. It's always been a project that I've watched with great interest because my brother, Chief Ian Campbell, was chief counselor of the Squamish, one of the chief counselors of the Squamish at the time, Chief Gibby Jacobs. And when we were traveling to Ottawa with the BC Business Council, it was one of the first companies I saw that were very open about letting us lead for what we needed to say. I'd been part of many of those missions to Ottawa with different various business groups and affiliations, and you kind of got told what you needed to say when you needed to say it. And in those days, we were just happy to be at the table, so we did that. But Wood Fiber was one of the first groups to really break the mold and let the chiefs lead with what needed to be said and what Ottawa needed to hear. So it's just the things that have come together for this week just aren't stopping to amaze me. Next, I want to invite a dear friend of mine who's always been here for us when we've needed her. Sheila Malcolmson is the local MLA, but also a very important, well, they're all important ministries, but a very important ministry that has to deal with some of the challenges that we have on the social side of these issues. That's one of the reasons why we have conferences like this. That's why we build projects like wood fiber. That's why we do salmon aquaculture. That's why we do mining. That's why we do forestry, because we got people who are hurt and they need to be healed. And so we need to work with the province at all these levels and connect all these dots to put us in a position where we can turn that page. So I'm just honored and delighted to have my dear friend Sheila come up and share some words with us. Sheila? Sorry, Minister Sheila, I apologize greatly.
I realize that I wasn't here exactly at the beginning of IROC, but I do remember being here at this conference center when we just had one little room, right? And now we've had to open up all the walls to make space for all these good people. I'm so glad to be with you here in Snuneymuxw territory. Thank you, Elder Lawley. It's always good. It's always a good sign of what's going to be a good day when you're here early to open us up. I'm grateful to Dallas and all the leadership of Namcolis Council and all the elders that are supporting the work. And I recognize, you here in the room are in leadership, and we've got a lot of challenges in all our communities, and so it's a choice you've made and a cost, arguably, for you to step away from that work and gather together. So I want more than anything to thank you for being here and choosing to come together in conversation at a really key time. And I really want to thank you for choosing Nanaimo. I'm the local MLA here. I share the territory legislatively with George Anderson. He's in North Nanaimo, but you're right here in the heart of my constituency. Snuneymuxw call Nanaimo the gathering place, and I'm really glad you've chosen it. My mom and dad, Sam Malcolmson and Ann Osler, I'm so glad they're still with me on this side, right? They grew up, and I grew up in Anishinaabe territory and Haudenosaunee territory from my dad's side of the family, the Malcolmson side. I'm 7th generation on those lands, but I've really done my growing up. I've been more than half my life here in Snuneymuxw territory, and I want to just, anything I say and any of my work on the elected side is so influenced by Snuneymuxw. It's been 23 years that we've been at tables together. I found myself at the very beginning on the other side of the table when we were in treaty negotiations, and it was the Gordon Campbell government, and I was like, well, I'm pretty sure I'm on the wrong side of the table here, but they hung in with me. I think of Doug White III and Bill Yoakum were there at the very beginning, like young bucks in Snuneymuxw Council, along with all the elders. It was like real interesting balance, 25 years ago, where they had, the old lineage and matriarchs and elders, and then these young guys who were like ready to go, and especially has already been mentioned here. I guess by the mayor, late Chief Viola Wise died in office. The agreements and the foundations that she was determined after treaty fell apart here, and the agreements she made with the Port Authority and the university and the city and Islands Trust and the regional district, that laid the foundation for what now, with her son, amazing Chief Mike Wise, anything you see about Snuneymuxw is all about partnership, right? As far as I'm aware, the first school built on reserve by the school district, that was here. Beautiful school, and the students they're the ones that are drumming and singing at a lot of the things we come to. The work that they've done with the university, they're the only nation in BC that has an MOU with BC Housing, and we're building domestic violence shelters and affordable housing with them, just through every aspect of resource opportunities. Snuneymuxw has stepped up, and I'm always grateful. I learn from them every day. You're going to hear from my chief, David Eby, and you're going to hear from my colleagues and friends, Ravi Parmar and Alana Popham, through the course of this conference about the more traditional resource opportunities. But I want to talk with you, and I'm so grateful that Dallas invited me, about the resource opportunities that are in my assignment, and those are about people. And I talked with you last year. We talked together when I had this, the gift of this opportunity to talk about some of the ways that we've been partnering on employment training. That's part of my ministry. Social development and poverty reduction is the third biggest ministry in government. Most of the money goes out the door in income assistance. And a lot of you at FNLG and other places have said, sometimes you say we need more income assistance, higher, fair, enough, but also a lot say we want our people working. We don't want people on welfare. And the Premier has assigned me what I can do to interrupt that cycle of dependence on income assistance. And the magic piece of that is all about employment training. And although my colleague, Ann Kang, with post-secondary in the Future Ready Skills assignment, she's working on the more traditional areas of job training. My assignment is where people just need a little bit of an extra lift to get them connected with their community and with employment opportunities. Sometimes that's immigrant women fleeing domestic violence. They need job training in their first language, and with a little bit of extra help, again, they'll be away to the races. They'll be set up for life. In some cases, though, I think where it relates to a lot of our communities and who you're representing in this room, maybe it's you're in one job, you can't afford to take the time off to get trained. So my ministry can come in and help with that travel subsidy, pay for your hotel, or maybe sometimes it's bringing the trainers to your community. Sometimes it's arranging childcare. Sometimes it's paying a training wage. And then the people that I've heard from to say, this changed my life. I was able to get trained up in that higher value in-demand job. Like, for example, commercial truck drivers in the north, we need them so much. It's a great work. It's in demand. We've got people that want to do it. That's where it's my ministry that does that. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples of the ways that with your nation's initiation, because this is always the way it is, we are never going to put on a program unless your nation or your ECDEV corporation called for it. But I'm just going to run through a couple of the things that we have been able to do together. And please talk with me or my ministry staff, or go to your Work BC office, because that's also inside my ministry. We need to do this work together. For us to unlock the more traditional natural resource opportunities that my colleagues are going to talk with you about, we need the people to do that work. And that is, to me, our magic piece. Everybody benefits when people have the resources that they need. and employers have the resources, the human resources that they need. So since I talked with you about some of these themes last year, I loved going to the Work in It Indigenous Career Fair in January. Anybody there? Put your hands up if you were. Not very many in the room. It was fantastic. There were hundreds and hundreds of people there. We funded it, but again, I think it was New Relationship Trust that actually put it on. I met this beautiful, inspiring young woman named Lakeisha. She had taken part in a Kitsalis career fair last year. And when I met her in January, she had already landed an electrical apprenticeship in her home community of Lac Willems. She was the first person in her family to do any kind of post-secondary training, and her mom and dad and auntie were all there at this fair to cheer her on, and she was actually the keynote speaker. I mean, as it should be. She had a way better story to tell than I did. But when we get those stories and you have them in your community, if you can let me know, because I'll build it into my storytelling, we need to inspire people about what's out there. Through my ministry, again, in partnership, we've been able to fund training for community support workers in PG and Kamloops in Langley. Quatsino took the lead and asked my ministry for financial support, and we did it, to train heavy equipment operators in forestry, in land development, mining, landscaping, demolition, and those workers are all over Vancouver Island, but hands raised to Quatsino for initiating that. Together, we funded security guard training in Terrace, Kelowna, Duncan, Surrey. Taku River Tlingit First Nation initiated training on administration, hospitality. Anyway, across the province, we've got these kind of partnerships, and we're so reliant on you initiating and then knowing that we've got the funds to do that. Second piece of the work that I wanted just to give you a flavor of is the resource opportunities we have in food security and food sovereignty. And this, I think, also Lana Popham will talk about because she's the food minister, but she's the food growing minister. I'm the food security minister. And so together we've been able to, again, nations initiate it and then we fund it. Boothroyd First Nation has winterized a community greenhouse. Hawaiiat has built 5 smokehouses. Anybody here from Hawaiiat? Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, really good to see you, friend. Lilwat Nation contacted us, and we were able to fund together expanding community gardens. They created an emergency food cache. They're hosting food preservation systems. In a lot of cases, nations are coming to us and tapping into funding to give an honorarium and to create the capacity for elders to pass on food skills, gathering and preservation, and training up the young ones. Again, that is all, to me, a resource opportunity that we can partner on together. Kitsalis First Nation has built a food forest. They've been trained food systems workers. And then right here at home, Snuneymuxw First Nation is partnering with Loaves and Fishes, which is a super innovative food rescue group. They're purchasing cold storage units at a commercial level and planting 250 fruit trees. Again, my ministry's funding, but the nation initiates it. I just want to end by saying this is the kind of work we can do together, and it's always been necessary, but at this time, where we're very anxious about whether it's because of climate change or because of the attitude of the US president, are we going to be able to access California food? I don't know. There's all kinds of insecurity that can dampen people's spirits, but we know that the resources are available in community. We know that the knowledge is there. We know BC can grow more workers and can grow more food. And for us to do that in connection with nations is the prime directive that the Premier has given to me. I'm honored to do that work. And I know that connecting together with Indigenous partners, connecting people with better paying jobs that are meaningful to them, that are going to be the engine of all of your communities, both to tap into more traditional natural resources, but also simply just to put good, nutritious food in people's bellies. That's work I'm honored to be doing with you together. and why I'm especially so grateful to be at the opening of your conference today. Thank you, friends. I'm grateful for your work and your friendship. Thanks, buddy. You're awesome.
That was awesome.
Thank you, friend.
Thank you, Minister Malcolmson. It's nice just to have some of those connections pointed out of where the social and the resource meet and where the opportunities are. I can already see my bro Corey thinking about this.
Can I say one more thing? These pants, right?
Yeah.
Lalem Snanemo Design Company, you can buy at their place on reserve or else right downstairs at the museum gift shop. Please stimulate our local economy.
Well done. Kayla Kessler. So it's nice to have those things pointed out, and we're going to do that a lot over the next couple days. I think a lot of the discussions, people are going to just start to see how they're connected to other things that they're worried about in other aspects of their life. So as we do, we're going to continue on. I'm going to ask my nephew Ernie to come up and just continue some cultural learning around these things. And not only are we paying honor to the First Nations leaders that we've lost and celebrating them, we're not mourning today, we're celebrating the impact that they had and the drive that they gave us to continue forward. There's definitely numerous non-First Nations leaders who have helped open doors for us. They've helped hold doors open for us to get through them. And so just as part of our culture, I'd like people to please stand while we go through this acknowledgement and this celebration.
Gela Kessler. Gela Kessler Silaxo. Gela Kessler Nitnoxala. Gela Kessler Gigame. Nukwam Kuma Inuk. Gaius and Las. We will come. I just want to thank everybody for being here today to celebrate for those who are gone before us. I really want to acknowledge one person in my life who's gone in our lives. And he was my brother, Curtis Wilson, who leads us. When I come to events like this to sing, sometimes it's hard, but at the same time, deep inside, I got to remember it's a part of traditional healing to be here and represent that. In our culture, our songs and our dance are the most important thing in our grieving. And sometimes we lose that. Sometimes we lose mental health. It's hard for First Nations people, especially with mental health. So I really want to acknowledge that we need to pay a lot more attention to the people that are struggling through reconciliation, truth and reconciliation. It's very important that we acknowledge these people. It's not hard to turn around and say hi to somebody on the side of the road. Even that'll save a life. Culture saves lives, and so can we. I want to thank Uncle Dallas for having me here today, and I apologize for being late this morning. So we're going to sing a celebration song. It's more of a journey song that I composed for my family. So Gela Kessler to the ones that are gone before us and on their spiritual journey. Thank you. Whoa.
Thank you so much. That was really, really moving. And I think a lot of us that have been here for many years, every year, really feel the missing of Curtis Wilson. So, and for those of you that may have just entered the room, the flag that Dallas is wearing today was designed by Curtis Wilson. And that is also a smaller version is what is our speaker gifts this year. So Chief Chris, please don't run away quite yet. We're going to switch gears and into our first panel of the morning. And so I'm really pleased to introduce the moderator, who is Kutuma Kwol-Sayers, Executive Director of the Clean Energy Association of BC, who's going to guide us through a really important discussion this morning. And I would invite the panelists of this next panel to join Kutuma on stage. So please join me in welcoming.
Good morning, everyone.